Well, welcome everyone. Dee Olson of Megalithic Marvels here to reconstruct the prehistoric past with you. And I'm excited to be interviewing explorer Antonio Perez. And we're going to be talking about the megaliths and some ancient sites of Asia. Antonio, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Dee, what's up, bro? It's a real pleasure to cooperate with you, bro.
Well, let's talk about the Yangshan Quarry site in China, because I remember seeing the first pictures of this years ago. And I mean, it almost looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, the way these massive stones are cut, and there's knobs on them, kind of like we see at different places in Peru and Egypt. And but it's really hard to find photos of these ancient giant cutouts in these rocks, aside from Wikipedia. And so when I saw you posting photos and videos of the Yangshan Quarry, I was like, this is incredible. And we've shared many of them on the Megalithic Marvels Instagram, so check that out. But tell us a little bit about how hard was it to actually get into China to see this site, and tell us a little bit about what you experienced there.
I think your page, Megalithic Marvels on Instagram, is one of the most accurate when it comes to putting together pieces of like a possibly forgotten past. When it comes to, the archaeological, buildings that we can see today, and that they are actually really rare, and people don't believe you can find polygonal walls in Greece or polygonal walls in Italy exactly than the ones in Peru or exactly than the ones in Egypt. So why there? So why not in China? So I went there to make the whole research. I mean, you go uphill and then you enter in the quarry, and then you see that all the bedrock, it's gone. You see that all the mountain, it's gone. They cut it away, and I mean, and giants, pieces of rocks, they are all gone. Then you walk in this bedrock that has disappeared, and you arrive to the first and finish and biggest piece of rock, which is still attached to the bedrock on the left side, and it's so big. A little bit uphill, after like 200 meters, you will see those beautiful ones that we've been seeing on the internet, which is supposed to be the head of that tablet. There are 14 notches on the rock, 14 teeth. And in the left side, you have the biggest one on large and perfectly cut and shaped, which was supposed to be the body of the tablet.
I was just going to say, it's that the one photograph you have of, I don't know what it's called, but it's the one structure or rock that you see most in photographs of Yangshan Quarry, where it's literally kind of got knobs near the top, and then it's like rectangular cutouts literally through the bottom, and you're like
Yeah.
inside that. You're crawling through that. And I mean, what was that like, and
Yeah.
how did they cut? What do you think they did to cut through rock that thick, that precise?
Yeah, at first, I just tried to find out, like, tool marks all over the place. Like, what type of tools did they use here? Why did they cut the rock this way? Why do they have those notches? Why? And my mind is still Egypt, is still Peru, is still all this, and these really first moments. By history, it says that it was tried to be cut 600 years ago, and that's been there for 600 years of time erosion when it comes to rain and wind. So any tool mark that is been exposed to 600 years of rain and wind, it may change a little bit too. There are circular shapes that resemble, for me, as first, like this was cut with a giant machine, some type of a giant saw, circular saw was cut in the bedrock, and those people, they were using machines somehow. That was what I first thought, and for actually weeks, until I really got into researching more and I start to really think about it, like why and how, and why I do believe that Yangshan Quarry do not belong to that ancient prehistoric past we're looking for, forgotten one or whatever. Why? And it will be amazing, just to transfer information to people, to say like, yes, guys, there is one more site and it's in China, but it's a fascinating site. When you compare like what was happening in Europe during the Middle Ages, like 600 years ago, and what the Chinese were able to achieve, yeah, I do believe that it was done 600 years ago on the 14th century, ordered by Zhongle Emperor. I will explain myself why. It's because around Nanjing, there is nothing ancient that you could transport these rocks, not even 1,000 kilometers or 2,000 kilometers, where you will implement this type of rocks or structures into a pyramid or into a tomb or into whatever. Because the structure was divided in three parts: the base, steel body, and the head. Exactly like in all mausoleums in China, you saw them. So that's what I know, that the Yangshan Quarry was, was a place to build a mausoleum in Nanjing and other sites in Nanjing, but maybe the mausoleum. All the giant stones that they were moved to the mausoleum. I mean, this guy Zhongle, just to point few of his remarkable achievements and why to believe that the quarry belongs to him. He changed the capital of China from Nanjing to Beijing in 15 years, building the Forbidden City of China, Forbidden City of Beijing. For anybody that has been in Beijing, has been in the Forbidden City, has seen the palaces, just imagine that a guy decided to move the capital from one side to another one. Just within 15 years, he moved the capital using 1 million workers. Imagine the power of an emperor from the Ming Dynasty that can just do like this. And within days or weeks, he has 1 million workers from all over China and riverbanks waiting to craft carpentry, to carve whatever it's need for the emperor. This guy was fascinated by giant structures. Another thing that he ordered was a bronze bell. He wanted to have the biggest bronze bell ever. So they achieved to build a belt, to mold a belt of 60 tons of bronze, and it can be visible in Forbidden City. Imagine the mold that the workers used to make the belt. This guy, he has a really big ego. He has really big ego, and they actually, those emperors did believe that there were some kind of gods on earth. His father was already dead. His mausoleum was halfway done. So he said, I'm not happy, with the tablet that you're building for my dad. And I actually wanted at least 10 times bigger, 10 times bigger. And I have photos of everything in the mausoleum and the quarry. And you can see that the head, the beautiful one from the Instagram we all see, the workers, they started to craft it. So those knots, they were in perfect, line. Like if you will make a scaffold, for example, from one to another, also one person could step on it, and with the axe picks, this is where they were doing it. All the tool marks resemble a person, so the height of a person, not more, like kind of Chinese, so that they are using the picks. And there is a moment that they have to use the picks in a circular way. If you want to work more, you will never work this way. So the human shape is circular. This way, you will be able to do more. And it was clear they were detaching the rock with hammers and metal feathers or whatever it's called. You could see the marks one after one in line, and Yangshan Quarry's limestone. So you could see how they were detaching big pieces of rock one after the other one. It was really laborious, the job of many laborious, industrious, and endless Chinese people there. They said that many people died on the quarry, many were slaves, and the workers of Zhongle Emperor achieved to move a rock of 300 tons that can be visible in Forbidden City as well. It stands as the largest tablet in the world, crafting one solid piece. It's all the way in the stairway up, and it's 300 tons. And the researchers from the Great Britain that did the research said that the ancient Chinese waited for the winter to have frozen pots. They will add to the frozen pots also greases and oils, and then they will place the giant stalks or giant blocks into giant sledges. They believe that that 300-ton rock that they move from 40 kilometers away from site to Forbidden City, no more than 30, 40 men were needed to move the rock because of the intelligent technique that they used, waiting for frozen winter pots and using the sledges, applying greases and oils. It's really smart. And then it's when the illogical comes to something actually logical, because the power of the guy. He needs 1,000 workers. He will put 2,000. He can put 10,000 if he needs. I found out when I was there, all the rocks, they were, certain inclination, all of them, the way they were cutting them, always the back part was a little bit higher than the upper part. And then between the blocks, beneath the rocks, they were leaving those big pieces of rock, like to be able to detach one, the second one, and the third one, and the rock will collapse with inclination into the sledge. Also, Yangshan Quarry, it's downhill. If you apply the frozen pots with the greases and the oil, the giant sledges, if you have bulls, if you have manpower, you have those giant ropes. This is why there wasn't notches beneath the rock. Beneath the rock was supposed to be flat, just to fit into the sledge. And all the notches, they were just on the sides on the rock and on the back. Like if you will rope, the rock this way to be able to, slide it. I wanted to tell you why did I start about explorations. So once I met this man in Iceland, an old man. His name is Geir, and he lives in that village I talk about of the structure. And he introduced me to that book. I was talking to him because, I think we all always look, there is something missing. There is something missing. We are all looking for something, like, where are we going? We don't know really where we come from. There are so many mysteries in the past that they are totally worth it to look for, because they are going to bring you your own freedom and liberty somehow. I had learned so much by going to ancient sites and explore this. Well, this man introduced me to this book. It's called Atlantis and the Kingdom of the Neanderthals. 100,000 years of lost history. And, if somebody's interested into it, he opened my mind into this subject maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And when I read, wow, 100,000 years of lost history, and like, I do believe, I want to say that my reflections about Yangshan Quarry, I think, are accurate, because I want to believe there is something missing in our history. I want to believe there are structures in Earth, but I more believe that our Earth is way more ancient than they told us. Our history is way more old and beautiful that we have ever been told, And I think it's worth it to find the real truth. That's why I like megalithic marvels, because you're accurate on finding really the right spots and not make this sensationalism that took me all the way to Yangshan Quarry, because that's what it took me to Yangshan Quarry. Like, yeah, why could it be that Yangshan Quarry belongs to another? I end up there, and I end up fascinated by the real truth. And I recommend to everybody to go for,
No,
yeah.
that's well said, and that's what we want, is the real truth. And I like that you can go explore this ancient site in China, and sure, it'd be fascinating to learn that it's megalithic, possibly, and 10,000 years old. But we want the truth, and if that's 600 years old, that's what we want, and that's still amazing history. Antonio, thanks so much for your time today, and I really appreciate it. It's been awesome for me just getting to know you more. And again, for everybody watching, listening, follow him on Instagram. He's got amazing videos, photos. Thanks, Antonio, so much. And let's do another show in the future, maybe about megaliths in Spain. How's that sound?
Yeah, that will be really cool. Yeah.